Good morning. This video is so that I can summarize chapter 6 of book 1 for you. And if you're using the ebook, chapter 6 is pages 81 through 88. So again, I have my copy. You're just going to see me kind of flipping through and kind of skimming so that I'll know all the main points to say to you to help you understand what happens in chapter 6. So at the beginning of chapter 6, Winston is writing in his diary again. And what Winston is writing throughout chapter 6 is kind of a memory that he had of a time that he went walking in the Pearl District. And by now, the Proles are a population of people who are very, very, very brainwashed. And again, you're going to get the notes. We're going to go through the notes at one point in one of my videos, but the Prole district is it's not really off limits to members of the party, but if you go walking in the Prole district or if you're hanging out in there, you definitely make yourself suspicious. But Winston is writing about a memory that he has about a time he was in the Prole district. And I'm going to go ahead and let you know that his memory is, it's not inappropriate, but he remembers a time where he went to the Pearl District and met a lady, if you will, who he paid to have relations with. So pretty much he went to the Pearl District and met a prostitute. And chapter 6 really is where we get this idea of the fact that the party kind of frowns upon sexual relations, really between you and a prostitute, but also between you and the person you're married to. So he starts off by he's writing the flashback, and then he begins thinking about his worst enemy, and he makes a comment in his mind about your worst enemy being your nervous system. And if you think of your nervous system, when you get nervous or anxious or you're feeling different kinds of ways, a lot of times you may have a tic, your eyes might twitch, it may cause you to shake a little bit, you may sweat. So if you're showing any of those signs, that's your nervous system because you're nervous. So when he talks about how it's been so hard as a party member to keep all of that nervous energy and anxiety inside. And then he goes on to have a memory about his wife. So Winston is married. The assumption at this point is that he's married throughout the entire novel, although he and his wife, Catherine, they were not compatible, so they ended up just kind of going their separate ways. And then it talks about sexual relations again. That's kind of the highlight of this chapter, so just bear with me. And talks about how if you want to get married in this society, then you have to kind of go through this process of approval from the inner party, and you have to have an interview, and you have to go before them with the person that you would like to marry and pretty much prove that you don't love each other. So I'm going to say that again. If you want to get married, you have to be approved, and you have to prove to the party that you do not have any emotions whatsoever. And that is because in this society, the sole purpose of marriage is to reproduce. So marriage equals reproduction. So the only reason you would want to officially marry someone, and you don't have a license, they don't really even have a ceremony, it's just the party saying to check, y'all can get married, now go have party babies so we can keep the party alive. So Winston is married to this woman named Catherine, and she is completely and totally brainwashed by the party. And so she wants to fulfill her duty. So she has no emotional attachment whatsoever. But Winston struggles with that, and he behind closed doors he wants to at least give it a try to have emotion, but she will have none of it. So he gets really frustrated. They end up separating, but again, because they were never really married in the eyes of the law anyway, it's not a big deal. But that's why he's having this flashback of a time where he goes to the Pearl District to engage in that activity, just because at that point for him it's not a duty to the party. It's supposed to be with somebody that you love. So anyway, that's kind of the gist of chapter 6. Then it talks about the Junior Anti-Sex League, which is a a club that women can join when they're teenagers or maybe even younger than that to take a vow of celibacy or chastity, if you will, because in the novel, artificial insemination is being discussed, it's being tested, and in the Newspeak dictionary, it's called ArtSim. So if a lady wants to join the Junior Anti-Sex League and still fulfill her duty to the party, she just has artificial insemination. So she doesn't even have to get married, if you will, to fulfill that duty. So that's chapter 6, pretty much in a nutshell. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I'm just flipping through, so if you'll just bear with me. Um, I wanted to read that chapter to you because one of your questions at the end of the week is going to be to talk about ArtSim and the party's rules about marriage. So that is chapter 6. I'm not requiring you to read it, but it's pages 81 through 88. So if you want to kind of follow along, there's your summary for chapter 6.